Hey guys, I got a question for you. Do you have a plan after an SHTF situation? I mean, things are going to be different, most likely. I see United States splitting up into other groups. I can definitely see Texas becoming its own little country as well as Alaska, because they've got the resources. Texas with the oil fields and the fishing out off the coast. I can definitely see Texas doing that, and Alaska the same way. The pipeline and their fishing and gold they got up there. But I see the states, kind of breaking apart in a major, SHTF situation. But that leaves us. What are we going to do after the fact? I mean, hell, I'm not going to sit here and sell firewood to keep people warm, forever. Um, I was thinking, I always said if something happened, I would live off the dead. Meaning, if I come across somebody who's passed and they got a coat or they got some gear or something I'm going to take it to use it for me or to trade. But then I started thinking, it started clicking in my head. If a person would start looking for stuff like that, gold rings, gold necklaces, earrings, gold and silver and diamonds and stuff like that, and save it back until the SHTF situation has passed and things starts coming back, you'd be sitting on a gold mine. With all the jewelry that you can get, all the weapons, the ammo. You could basically be a mini arms dealer with all the stuff you're going to be able to get. The old cars. Yeah, you start thinking about stuff like that because, yeah, in a shit hit the fan situation, the only thing you're thinking about is survival, keeping warm, feeding your family, keeping them protected. But what about after? If you're an electrician or a mechanic, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be needed, because if we have an EMP or something like that, because it's going to be years upon years upon years before the grid comes back up. Me being a carpenter, that ain't nothing. After an SHTF situation, there's going to be no need to build houses or decks or anything like that, because there's going to be plenty around for people to get. And another thing, land. If something was to happen, and say you, like here, hell, there's like almost 500 acres back there. If I'm sitting here at the end of it and the landlord's dead and all the people who owns this is dead, squatters' rights. This would be mine. Because they're not going to be no records. They're going to take them forever to find the records and everything if something major happens. Say like a total economic collapse, a EMP, total government blowout, the government just disinvolves. Have you guys thought about this? Because, I was talking to my wife, and I just recently put two and two together. And because we're all focused on making it through, living our life in a SHTF situation. But we're not thinking about what about afterwards. How are we going to do it when things start coming back? Because there ain't going to be no jobs. You're not going to go to a restaurant and get a job, or a grocery store and get a job, or a factory and go get a job. There ain't going to be that type of work around. So how is people going to live? How are they going to prosper after? Because the country is going to be so tore apart. You know, has anybody thought about this? Because like I said, this is new to me. You know, because I have been focused on providing for my family and surviving through a SHTF situation. I haven't been thinking about afterwards. But like I said, I made that thing about, you know, I would live off the dead if I come across somebody who's got coats or boots or something like that that I needed to keep me warm or my boys and my wife warm. I'd take it. Then I started thinking, well, what happens if they got jewelry on them? You know, instead of taking their weapons and trading them off, why not set on them, stockpile them? And, you know, things just started clicking. Like, you know, there could be a lot of money, or I don't know what would be after money, you know, but after an SHTF, there'd be a lot of opportunities to become not wealthy, but become financially stable, where you don't have to worry about it and your boys, your family don't have to worry about it. Yeah, people's going to say, oh, you're going to make a living off the deaths of others. Yes, I would. In order to get to make sure my boys have a good future, yep, I sure would. Yeah. You know, call me wrong, call me whatever, but yes, I would. You know, yeah. Because I am so tired of busting my guts out for others. You know, why not take the opportunity to make something for yourself? If it involves somebody's loss of their life and you take their stuff, can't cry over spilled milk. You know, you still got to live. You know, somebody would do the same thing to me, and they'd probably do the same thing to you guys. So what do you guys think? What would you do? Would you do it? Would you take the gold and the silver, you know, all the jewelry off of somebody and set it back, or all their gear and set it back, or all their weapons and set it back? Or say you come across a couple of 66 Mopar Roadrunners or GTOs or a Lamborghini or something like that. You wouldn't take that if it was drivable? Nobody around? You wouldn't take that and store it somewhere for afterwards? Or land, if you're sitting on land and the country's tore apart, and, you know, like I said, I'd be sitting on almost 500 acres if I didn't have to bug out. And it'd be mine. If something happened to the landlord, you know, the landowner, you know. I don't know, you know, if you get, I don't know if anybody's thought about it or not. You know, like I said, this is new to me. I would have to do some research on the land and stuff like that, what would happen. But because the states are going to be all, the government's going to be all tore apart, so they're not going to know their butt from a hole in the ground. And as long as you're working the land, you know, keeping it up, it should be yours. But I know this is probably an off-the-wall subject, but like I said, we're always thinking about during a SHTF situation, what we're going to do, how we're going to make it, how we're going to survive, how we're going to thrive. What about afterwards? The government ain't going to come by and hand out gift baskets to you after a shit hit the fan situation. You're going to have to do it on your own. And I mean, that's how all the back in the 1800s and stuff, that's how all these oil tycoons made their millions and billions off of people. You know, I mean, I don't know, you know, making a living off of sorrow, other sorrows. Shit, the government's doing that right now to all of us. They're living large while we're living with nothing hardly. But I don't know. I've been thinking about that, and I kept thinking about it, and I'm thinking, should I do a video or shouldn't I do a video on it? You know, are people going to think different ways and stuff like that? But how many of you guys out there have seriously thought about it, or have you not even considered what you're going to do after a shit hit the fan situation? It makes you think. If you really sit down and you think about it, like, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to make it? You know, being a real estate agent, it ain't going to do you any good during and after an SHTF situation. Being only thing that really is going to be important is like anybody with any type of medical background and maybe military and law enforcement, because you're going to probably have local sheriffs like the old days, you know, town sheriff, county marshal, or town marshal, county sheriff, or something like that. You know, these police departments are going to go away like that. It's just going to be groups forming, then growing into towns and stuff like that. You know, it's something to think about. I don't know if I'm thinking the wrong way from, you know, it's just, I don't know, it's like the basement floor of development. You know, I just basically drawing up the blueprints to see what would function and what would work for me. So, but what do you guys think? Would you save back? You know, if you come across somebody that had gold and silver and they're dead, would you take it to save back? Or would you take their guns? Or if you walked into a house trying to find, say, food or something like that, and you come across, you know, a bunch of gear and stuff like that, would you take it to save it back for afterwards? I mean, some people's going to call it immoral. I'm calling it survival of the fittest. You know, that gear ain't doing those people, or that jewelry ain't doing those people any good. They're dead. They're maggot food, they're fly food, they're animal food. And if their jewelry and their gear will help me and help my boys afterwards, all means, I'm going to do it. But would you guys do it? Do you think it's a good idea? Have you guys thought about, you know, this or something similar to this? How are we going, what plans do you have for after a shit hit the fan situation? You know, we've got all kinds of plans before and during. What about after? How are you going to make it afterwards? Because that's going to be a hard time too, because if you're a lawyer, or if you're a judge, or if you're a carpenter, if you're an electrician, if you're an auto mechanic, if you're, you know, if you're a manager at a grocery store, you know, those jobs really won't mean anything. The only things that's going to mean anything is like law enforcement or military or medical, doctors, you know, doctors, EMTs, you know, surgeons and stuff like that. That's what's going to be, you know, in high demand. And being a professional politician, that's just going to get you killed, because a lot of people is going to turn on the politicians, because the politicians is what's got us into this mess. So, I don't know, you know, just tell me what you guys think. And I'm sorry this video is long, but it's a new ideal. It's a new thought. And again, I'm just putting two and two together, getting the basic blueprints and thinking how, and, you know, what could be done for after an SHTF situation. Because we're going to do good during, but after, I never thought of. Because I'm always focused on the during. I've never focused on the after. So just tell me what you guys think. What would you guys do to prepare for the after of a shit hit the fan situation? I'm going to get off here, guys. I want to say thank you to Hubless Cat. We've got your package today, and thank you. It was cool. I really do appreciate it. There's some cool items in there. You know, I don't want to name off what you sent, because you know it was cool. Thank you. My wife liked it as well, and the boys are getting the stamps. They're cutting them out and setting them back. But thank you. It was. I'll hopefully next week I'll be sending you a little package. But again, thank you. All right, guys, it's 17 minutes long. Probably too long. You guys don't want to listen to me run my trap anymore. Everybody, be safe and take care. Bye for now.